You've been told to take control of your life, plan more, push harder, make it happen. That's what strength looks like, right? But what if it's not? What if the obsession with control is actually what's keeping you stuck? You try to control the outcome. You try to control other people. You try to control time. And when life refuses to obey, you suffer. You call it frustration. You call it burnout. You call it bad luck. But really, it's grief. Grief over the fact that you can't make life bend to your will. The Stoics saw this long before we did. They called it the illusion of control, because no matter how hard you try, you don't get to choose the wind. You only get to choose the sail. But modern life forgot that. It sold you a lie. If you just work hard enough, everything will go your way. And when it doesn't, you blame yourself. You push harder, plan more, try to force outcomes into place. That's not strength. That's slavery. A slavery to anxiety, to perfectionism, to a life that feels like running uphill with no finish line in sight. And here's the truth. Most of the things you're chasing are already moving toward you, but you're too busy forcing to notice. The Stoics taught the art of letting go, not because they were lazy, but because they were wise. They knew that life moves on its own, that trying to control the uncontrollable is the fastest way to lose your peace. So what does letting go look like? It's not giving up. It's not doing nothing. It's choosing to release what was never yours to hold. You don't control outcomes. You control effort. You don't control people. You control presence. You don't control the future. You control this moment. And that changes everything. Because when you let go, you stop blocking the flow of life. You stop strangling opportunities. You stop chasing what's already on its way. Think about it. When have you been the most at peace? Was it when you were forcing? Or when you finally said, "I've done my part. Now I trust the rest"? That's not passivity. That's partnership. You do your work, and then you release. You give your best, and then you step back. You plant the seed, and you stop digging it up to check if it's growing. Control is addictive. It feels like power, but it's actually panic. Panic disguised as productivity. Letting go feels like weakness at first, but it's not. It's strength in its purest form, because it takes courage to stop controlling what you cannot control and to trust life to do its part. The Stoics practiced this daily. They called it amor fati, love of fate, not just acceptance, but a partnership with reality. They didn't say, "I give up." They said, "I'll do my part, and I'll love what comes next." That's how you get everything. Not by forcing, but by flowing. Not by grasping, but by receiving. Not by chasing, but by standing still and letting life meet you. So ask yourself, what am I forcing right now? What am I clinging to? What am I trying to control? That was never mine to hold. Because the more you grip, the more you suffer. And the more you let go, the more life gives you. Most people think letting go means losing control, losing progress, losing the chance to win. But what if it's the opposite? What if the real loss is in holding on too long? Think of your life right now. How much of your energy is spent trying to make things happen faster? Trying to push results that aren't ready yet? trying to control situations that were never in your hands. That's not growth. That's exhaustion. It's like carrying rocks in your backpack, thinking the heavier you are, the further you'll go. But the Stoics knew better. They didn't carry what they didn't need. They traveled light, because when you're light, you're free. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop controlling. You do your work. You give your best. But you don't tie your peace to the outcome. That's what's breaking you. Not the effort, but the attachment. You're not tired from doing. You're tired from clinging. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. They still tried. They still aimed for good things. But they held those things loosely, like sand in an open palm. Not tight fists, not desperate grabbing. Because life is motion. And when you grip too hard, you stop the flow. You block the very thing you're chasing. You squeeze so tightly that there's no space left for life to move. Imagine standing in a river. If you fight the current, you drown. If you flow with it, you arrive. Same water, different outcome, same life, different choice. So why do we grip? Because we're scared. Scared that if we let go, everything will fall apart. But here's the secret. Things fall apart anyway. That's how life works. Seasons change, people change, plans fall through. You don't prevent that by forcing. You just make yourself suffer more when the change comes. Letting go doesn't mean life stops hurting. It means you stop adding extra pain by fighting what's already happening. The Stoics practiced this daily. They woke up and reminded themselves, today, I will lose things. Today, plans will shift. Today, the world will move how it moves, not how I want. And knowing that, they relaxed. They breathed. They did what they could. And then, they released the rest. Can you? Can you release what you can't control before life rips it from your hands? Can you drop the rocks you've been carrying out of habit? Can you make space for something better to arrive? Because that's the secret no one tells you. Sometimes you don't get what you want because your hands are full of what you don't need. Letting go is how you make space. Space for new things. Space for healing. Space for life to surprise you. You don't have to force peace. You just have to stop blocking it. You don't have to create opportunity. You just have to stop chasing the wrong ones. You don't have to beg for love. You just have to stop gripping relationships that drain you. The Stoics knew some things come by effort, others come by waiting. Knowing when to act and when to be still is the highest form of wisdom. So ask yourself, what am I carrying right now that I don't need? What would happen if I set it down? That's not failure. That's freedom. There's a moment between effort and outcome, and most people can't handle it. That space, between planting the seed and seeing the growth, between sending the message and getting the reply, between letting go and watching life respond. It's in that gap where the mind panics. It whispers, what if nothing happens? What if you lose everything? What if you stop pushing and life forgets you? So you grip again, you chase again, you interfere again, and you call it working hard. But really, it's just fear in disguise. The Stoics warned us, most of human suffering comes from not knowing how to wait, not knowing how to be still, not knowing how to do nothing, and let life unfold. Because here's the truth, doing nothing is not the same as being passive. Sometimes doing nothing is the most powerful action there is. It's choosing to trust the process instead of trying to control it. It's choosing to hold your ground instead of chasing what's running away from you. It's choosing to breathe instead of bargain. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop panicking. It means you stop forcing doors to open that were never yours to walk through. Sometimes the biggest shift in life comes not from moving forward, but from stepping aside, not from pushing harder, but from letting go of what's in the way. And if you're still listening to this, then you're ready for that shift. Because deep down, you already know it's time. Time to stop gripping. Time to stop chasing. Time to stop being at war with the present moment. At Inner Fort, we're not here to help you do more. We're here to help you do less, on purpose. Less forcing, less worrying, less trying to control what was never yours. If this feels like the reminder you needed, subscribe to Inner Fort and turn on the bell. There's more to come. And sometimes, doing less is how you finally get everything. Your mind wants to do something, anything. It doesn't care if it helps. It just wants motion, because motion feels like control, and control feels like safety. But sometimes the safest thing is to stop moving, to sit in the moment, to let life happen without forcing it. That's where real courage is, not in chasing outcomes, but in allowing space. Space for the seed to grow, space for the path to appear, space for life to unfold in its own time. The Stoics practiced this. They didn't just act wisely, they waited wisely. They didn't just speak well, they knew when to be silent. They didn't just work hard, they knew when to step back. Because forcing life doesn't speed it up. It just makes you suffer more while you wait. Your mind will resist this. It will tell you that you're lazy, that you're falling behind, that you'll miss your chance. But that's not truth. That's addiction. Addiction to control, addiction to noise, addiction to doing something, even when there's nothing to do. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing. Not because you don't care, but because you finally trust the process. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about stepping aside, making room, creating space, so life can meet you where you are. Think of the best moments in your life. Did they happen because you forced them? Or did they come when you let go? When you stopped pushing and allowed life to surprise you? Control is small. It's based on fear. But trust? Trust is expansive. It allows life to be bigger than your plans. It allows good things to happen that you couldn't have imagined. The Stoics knew most of life is out of your hands. But peace, that's always within reach. When you grip less, you hold more. When you chase less, you receive more. When you control less, you experience more. That's not passivity. That's partnership. A partnership with the present moment, with the unfolding of life, with the timing that's not yours to decide. So here's the practice. Next time you feel the urge to force, pause. Next time you feel the panic to act, breathe. Next time you feel like chasing, stay still. And in that stillness, watch what happens. Watch how life moves toward you when you stop running from it. Watch how clarity rises when you stop clouding it with action. Watch how peace returns when you stop fighting for it. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were practitioners of patience. They knew the power of waiting, of observing, of letting life reveal itself. And you can do the same, not perfectly, not all at once, but moment by moment, breath by breath. Most people think letting go means losing status, losing opportunity, losing their place in the race. But what if letting go is how you actually win? Not by beating someone else, but by stepping into a life that's no longer ruled by fear. The Stoics taught this: most of what you want is blocked by your need to control it. You think you need to chase happiness, but happiness comes when you stop chasing. You think you need to force love, but love grows where space exists. You think you need to dominate life, but life moves toward you when you stop pushing it away. Letting go isn't about having less. It's about receiving more clarity, more peace, more of what's actually meant for you. Because when you stop holding on to what doesn't belong, you make room for what does. Most people miss this. They're so busy forcing the door open that they don't see the window already inviting them in. They're so focused on one path that they ignore the better one that life is gently unfolding in front of them. Letting go changes your posture. You're no longer tense, no longer braced for failure, no longer obsessed with outcome. You're open, and in that openness, everything can come to you. Think about nature. A tree doesn't chase the rain. It waits, rooted, present, still. And when the rain comes, it receives it fully. No panic, no rush, no forcing. Can you do the same? Can you trust life to bring what's meant for you? Can you trust yourself to be ready when it arrives? That's the real reason we grip so hard. Not because we don't believe in life, but because we don't believe in ourselves. We're scared that if we stop pushing, we'll miss it. But the truth? You miss more by forcing than by flowing. The Stoics knew opportunity moves faster toward the still mind, not because the world changes, but because the still mind sees what the frantic mind never could. When you're busy forcing, you're blind to possibility. But when you let go, your vision clears. You notice the right timing. You sense the right opening. You feel the right connection. That's not magic, it's presence. And presence is the gateway to everything you've been chasing. So how do you start? With one breath, with one moment of noticing your grip and loosening it, of saying, "I've done my part, now I let life do its part." That's not quitting. That's mastery. Mastery of attention, mastery of emotion, mastery of trust. Letting go is how you lead yourself to the life you actually want. A life not built on stress, but on stillness. A life not driven by fear, but by faith in timing. A life not forced, but received. And here's the paradox. When you let go, you don't get less. You get more. More peace, more joy, more clarity, more of what matters, and none of the noise. At some point, you have to decide, do you keep fighting life, or do you finally trust it? Do you keep pushing, or do you step back and let it come to you? This isn't about giving up. It's about giving space. Space for life to breathe. Space for you to rest. Space for things to unfold without your constant interference. The Stoics called this living in accord with nature. They knew life moves on its own timeline, not yours. They knew the seasons change, whether you approve or not. They knew people come and go, no matter how tightly you hold them. And they knew real power is not in control, it's in harmony. When you live in harmony with life, you stop trying to force the rain. You stop yelling at the wind. You stop chasing outcomes that aren't ready yet. Instead, you stand still, rooted, present. You do your work, but you stop carrying the whole world on your back. You let life meet you halfway. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. It's what the Stoics practiced every day. A quiet mind, a steady hand, a heart that doesn't flinch when things don't go to plan. Because they knew the plan is never fully theirs. It never was. And maybe that's the hardest part for modern life to accept. That some of the best things happen when you stop trying to make them happen. When you let go, you get everything you need. Not always what you want, but what you need. Peace, clarity, freedom from the constant war with what if. Imagine living that way. Imagine waking up and not gripping the day like it's your job to control the universe. Imagine doing your part and then stepping back, letting the rest come to you, or not. Either way, you're still whole. Either way, you're still free. That's the shift. From controlling life to cooperating with it. From chasing outcomes to partnering with reality. From trying to get everything to realizing it's already here. So today, ask yourself, what can I release? What can I let happen without forcing it? Where can I create space for life to move toward me? The answers won't come all at once. That's okay. This is a practice, not a perfection. And if you're ready for more, there's another step after this one. Another layer to uncover. Another part of life that reveals itself only when you stop chasing. That's waiting for you, whenever you're ready.